Okay, let's go. Our first story. You know, that Nigeria is in the throes of a crippling insecurity is an understatement, but that a state governor is collaborating to take on the monster head-on is very cheering news. A fresh onslaught has been initiated against terrorists, bandits, and other criminal elements who may want to infiltrate Kogi State and others who share the boundaries with it. Kogi State government has signed an MOU, a Memorandum of Understanding with Chinese investors for the provision of high-technology security architecture. The first of its kind smart technology would capture movements in and out of Kogi State from command and control centers just to decimate criminal elements that may want to infiltrate the state. State governors can, as security chiefs, secure their environments. I think it is possible, Jide.
Yes, at least they can do their best. And their best would go a long way. To sit down and not do anything is criminal. But it is possible for them to do their best. And we want to see them do their best. We know that the policing structure in our country is a problem. We know that the policing structure in our country is not really the best. We would want to see a decentralization of the policing structure. The state police is becoming more and more desirable because that is what will put the security of the states firmly in the hands of governors. Right now, governors are not fully in charge of security in their states. In fact, I described them once as chief logistic officers of their states. Chief security logistic officers because they provide the equipment that the police needs. Sometimes I ask myself, without the government of the states providing the police with so much support, where would we be? You know, so Kogi is taking steps to secure his entire environment. The governor has done well in the area of security, but as you know, he has not defeated insecurity. It keeps happening. People keep coming into the states to cause trouble, to kill the people, to kidnap the people. But I'm happy that they are now approaching this insecurity through the use of technology. Technology will help us to pinpoint location of criminals, and then we can take decisive steps against them. I was reading what the CEO of the Kogi State Promotion and Public-Private Partnership, Abdul Karim Siaka, said. He said, "We will see you if you are driving, if you are walking, you have metal on you. If you are talking, we will be able to pick it up, and then if you do something wrong, we will be able to pick you up using our field personnel on the ground." So, if we can
don't you think he's giving away too much?
It's not giving away too much. In fact, as long as the criminals don't know where the command and control centers and they do not have access to where they are, they will get them. Let me tell you, in South Africa, in Durban, because Durban is known for its extensive CCTV coverage. Many criminals prefer not to go to Durban because they know they will get caught. Chances are that
is it a white environment?
A lot of Indians, a very good population of Indians, and even white people as well. You know, so but they will operate in many parts of Johannesburg and get away. But Durban, they are careful because of the extensive CCTV coverage of the area. What is the point in committing a crime when
you
are most likely to be caught. People don't want to find themselves in that
But
situation.
you remember in the Jonathan days, we had something like that proposed for Abuja and Lagos. And after a while, it just tapered off.
Yes, I remember that story, but in my view, it makes sense for states to do it at their level.
Okay.
I was in Zamfara, and what I saw, I was really impressed.
All right.
I was really, really impressed. And I know that even Kano has started it. Even the Falgore forest in Kano, there's CCTV coverage of the Falgore forest.
Really?
Because bandits used to be there. But today, the bandits have been flushed away, and there is a military training facility right inside the forest.
Wow.
So they know it's a no-go area. But in spite of that, there is CCTV coverage of Falgore forest. As you are riding your bike, they are seeing you. So if they see 3 bikes at the same time, they know they could be bandits. So they will send, maybe they will alert the security forces, and they could just send an aircraft to go and finish the job. So it's the same thing, it's something similar that Zamfara has done. Right. Somebody snatched someone's money in front of a bank. They were looking at it from the control center, and they got hold of the person.
Oh, really?
This is not fiction. I saw it myself. In fact, their CCTV coverage is perhaps the best I've seen in this country.
Oh,
and
really?
I've seen that of at least 3 or 4 states.
Okay.
But that of Zamfara is quite impressive.
I hope state governors are listening to you, which is to say it is possible.
It's possible. This is what they need to invest in.
Wale, but you know, Kogi has a strategic position. It is contiguous to about 10 or 11 states. Yeah. So Governor of Kogi going this extra mile is okay for it.
Well, I think this is a very impressive step by the state governor. Some of the state governors keep on citing lack of capacity because of federal government, but this man has taken a very bold initiative.
Yes.
And is investing about $60 million.
Yeah.
And when I read it, said it has the capacity to create about 685,000 jobs.
Oh, really?
I don't know how, but I know that when
that's quite a chunk.
Yeah, it's a whole lot of, probably because of the internet facilities, maybe for people to be able to make use of the IT component. And he also said it's going to drive investment. Of course, it's going to drive investment. Kogi State used to be one of the most peaceful states, even when it was part of Kwara. Very peaceful states. And one of the growing industrial centers in Nigeria, with Ajakuta, you know, the main industrial base for the industrialization of Nigeria is also in Kogi State. But in recent times, it has been in the news for bad reasons. You know, attacking churches, attacking police stations, not just in urban areas, but also in rural areas. So I think what the governor has done is very good, because the essence of security is to prevent crime. So when criminals know that they will be caught, there is a high possibility that they will not go into that particular area. And Kogi is also the gateway to the southwest. It's also gateway to the south-south and gateway to the southeast. So what the Kogi governor is doing is going to have ripple effect on the surrounding states. So I think this is a very bold initiative. However, having a very good action, project is also not enough, because there's usually the human error.
Yeah.
There'll be, corruption, they'll be handled by human beings. So I think a lot still needs to be invested, in terms of the capacity of people that will manage it, and also secrecy to ensure that it's managed by people with credibility, so that criminals will not be able to infiltrate. Criminals are terrible people, but they're also very intelligent. Don't take it away from them.
Oh, come on, yeah.
They are reading this. They want to take countermeasures. And I also think, though it's a very good effort, but also one of the greatest steps to ensure security is to provide food for people to eat. I think the investment component of this project is a very good.
If the people are well fed, there's a payback.
People will be, will not be stimulated.
And Jide, the governor needs what you might call a stubborn belief in the idea to see it through.
Yes, I think at this stage he's convinced that there should be no going back on this. The Chinese are here. The policy direction has been well consummated, and when it comes to security, that is something that this particular governor takes seriously. He is very direct in his approach to security. Sometimes he even accompanies security agencies on patrols. You know, he's accompanying them on patrols in the past. And that demonstrates how determined he is to secure the state. And he knows that real growth and development will not happen in an atmosphere of insecurity.
That's it.
Yes.
That's it.
Look at how much agriculture contributes to our GDP. If increasingly bandits are stopping people from accessing their farms, should it surprise you?
Obviously.
That our GDP is declining month on month? So because these people are being stopped from accessing their farms. So states must take concrete steps to boost security. State governors must take concrete steps to boost security. I know that a lot of them are trying their best, but they still need to do a lot more. Our people don't deserve to be killed cheaply the way bandits are killing.
After all, this tells me that it can be done.
There can be no doubt that it can be done.
Yeah. So, Governor Kogi said, we wish you Godspeed. All is definitely not well with medical consultants in our country. The Medical and Dental Consultants Association of Nigeria, MDCAN, has sounded this spine-chilling alarm. It says that 9 out of 10 medical and dental consultants with less than 5 years of experience plan to leave the country for greener pastures. President of the association, Dr. Victor Makonjola, disclosed this during a survey carried out in March. He revealed that some 500 medical and dental consultants had fled Nigeria for developed countries. Yes, we are in a quandary, but Wale, is the grass greener on the other side? Always.
There are so many reasons why medical doctors, leave the country. And we are not just talking of medical doctors, we are talking of health workers.
Yeah.
And I think if you look at the history of Nigeria in the 70s, in the 60s, it wasn't like this. But from the 80s, we have seen a geometric increase in the number of Nigerians, medical officials who want to leave the country. First, they have to leave because the conditions of employment in those countries are far better than what they get here. Then the dignity associated with the profession in those countries is far better than what they get here. Then exposure to modern equipment, facilities, journals.
So the tools you work with are there?
The tools are there. So I think this is going to have a very terrible impact on our health sector. Not now, we are going to feel it now, but it's going to be more in the future because these are the people that are supposed to train our medical doctors. We have 24,000 doctors in Nigeria, from what we have told. That's a ratio of about 1 doctor to 8,000 people.
Patients.
Whereas the UN recommends 1 doctor to 600 patients. And even we are talking about the ratio, maybe we are talking about urban areas. If you go to rural areas in Nigeria, probably you are talking about 1 to about 15,000, where there are no even medical doctors at all.
In some areas, yeah.
So I think it's an emergency in the health sector. And I believe that there are a lot of things government can do to stop this drainage. It's a critical sector of the economy. Because if there is people don't have access to good health, it will affect productivity. It will affect, the living standards of the people. It will affect the number of years people can stay on life. This life. So I think the government should see this as an emergency, and I believe there are steps they can take to ensure that medical doctors are encouraged to stay back after the training.
Yeah. And Jide, largely, these things are preventable. Largely preventable.
Yes, but first and foremost, economic migration is usually the product of a country's economic outlook. If people can see that the economy is doing well, if the currency is stable and strong, many people won't feel the need to emigrate. Economic migration is not new and it's not something bad in a sense, in itself. But the rate at which medical personnel are leaving our country leaves so much to be desired. It shows that we have not prioritized the health sector. We are not doing what we should do in the health sector. Some of them are not simply leaving because of the money, but because the tools to work with,
are not there.
the next generation tools to work with are not there. I can tell you that if you have an hospital and you equip it with top of the range equipment, it will be a pride to medical doctors to work there. They will be very happy.
He can't wait to resume.
Yes, knowing that some of the things there are some of the best in the world. They want to test their hands on the best equipment. But what we have is a situation in which the hospitals have been left unattended, public hospitals left unattended for so long. Even our leaders, when they are ill, they don't want to go to those public hospitals. They are thinking of a private hospital, maybe in Lekki. During COVID, you saw a lot of them were taken to one hospital in Lekki. It didn't stop them from dying there, though. Now, if they don't stop there because of travel hitches, as we experienced during COVID, they are thinking of going abroad. Some of them go to Egypt. Egypt, that ordinarily Nigeria should be ahead of it. You know, at independence, we were not Egypt's mate.
India,
Malaysia, they are sending, not to talk of Dubai and the rest. I know somebody who had an accident recently, one of the northern states, straight Dubai. Our hospitals are not equipped to handle some cases that you don't even have to travel abroad for. Now, to compound matters, you are also not remunerating these medical personnel sufficiently. So
that's it.
Every man is by nature ambitious. You want the best for yourself and for your family. So they will want to live. If our people, even during COVID, when they were not hiring in the UK, Nigerians that went abroad were still went to UK, were still in excess of 700 Nigerian doctors. So I'm waiting anxiously for the figure for this year. By the time that of this year is released, because it's been going up from 2015. In fact, in some cases, you see the figure for a year will double that of the previous year. That's how bad this thing has become. So a doctor was telling me that his biggest concern is that at medical school, they're already discussing how to live. They are not waiting to practice anymore. They are already at medical school. They are in school. They are already thinking of living.
They are thinking of a grass that's greener.
Yeah, they want to jackpot. Now, you know the implication of that. We need to freshen up the senior cadre. The rate at which we are going, we will find a kind of discombobulation between the higher cadre of medical personnel and the junior.
Yeah.
Because you will now find that there are far more of those ogas, senior people available than the juniors. And there's no way those ones can function alone. Yeah. They need those guys to work hand in hand with them. So this is the situation that we will find ourselves. Even whether we are talking about nurses or midwives or dental surgeons, pharmacists, they are all leaving. More than 6,000 pharmacists left in less than 10 years. Wow. So it's just, there was something also that I saw that bothered me. So as I said, In 2015, 279 moved to the UK. By 2017, 475.
Oh, yeah, yeah,
Look,
yeah.
you see the way it's going up. In 2018, 852 moved to the UK. By the following year, 2019, 1,347. So it's really alarming the way it's going. 2020, they were not even hiring because of COVID. Yet, 833 left.
Wow.
So now, for this year, for 2021, 932. I can tell you that if this trend is anything to go by, 2022, by the time the figures for 2022 are out,
Okay.
we will be dazed. And it's going on like that. A doctor friend of mine sent me a message after watching us last week talking about this problem. And he said, as he was talking, it felt like somebody preaching, and hopeful that this problem will come to an end. You know what was his last two lines? He said, as I'm talking to you now, I've made up my mind to leave.
Wow.
It was a tough decision for me to take, but I do not have a choice. That's somebody who had done clinical practice for 10 years. He had reached the peak of clinical practice. So instead of staying here and see what further progress he could make, he too decided to leave.
Yeah.
So it's a terrible situation. If it goes on like this, honestly, we will not have enough medical personnel
Left for
our
the
public health institutions.
teeming millions.
Yes, because
Well, you know, they say memory is very unkind to an old man.
Yeah.
Just to recall that the UCH, this same UCH at Ibadan, used to be a reference point in the Commonwealth of yore, you know. So how we drop the ball, I can't understand.
Well, it's very simple. The health sector cannot be isolated from the political economy and the character of leadership. It cannot be isolated from it. So from the 80s, we have seen decline, you know, the quality of leadership at the national and the state level. So the way our resources are managed, the vision of those that lead us, their perception about what is good and what is bad. So when you have a country where, you know, people in power think mostly for themselves, they don't take their health care here. Anytime they are ill, they go abroad. How do you expect such people to invest in the health sector when those health sectors do not actually meet their needs? So, you know, the situation we are talking about medical doctors leaving. The fact also is that best students in secondary schools, the next thing is that they want to go abroad.
Oh, yeah.
Medical doctors, you know, if you want to do medicine, you want to go and do it in Canada. We are not talking even about those that have been trained here, but potential young men, the best in engineering, the best in computer science, from the best secondary schools all over the country. The target is to go abroad. They want to go to Harvard. And even we are talking abroad, not just Europe alone. Some want to go to Ghana. They prefer to go and study in Ghana. I have a cousin who is a medical doctor. He moved to Lesotho. And he told me, look, in Lesotho that, you know, it's peaceful, you know, better remuneration, the working conditions, they don't take the light, it's more comfortable, his family are schooling, you know, there's no kind of trauma when he shouldn't go to school. So even the social and cultural environment.
Wale, but do you know, even at that level, you know, a little something dies in you. You know, I could have been doing this in my country.
Oh, sure.
You know.
That is it. But you see, they have a kind of passion for the country.
Yeah.
They always cry about, oh, I wish my country is better.
Oh.
But nobody is listening to us.
All right. So we hope that our best days are not over. But I hear Nigerian doctors are some of the best on the planet.
Sure, all over the world. Wherever they go, in Europe, everywhere, they are the best. Even here, they still come and take some of them to go abroad when there are special cases to be dealt with.
You know, the propriety or otherwise of seeking a political solution to the IPOB leaders' detention has refused to go away. The Global Igbo Alliance worldwide, a Pan Igbo Group, says that releasing the leader of the Independent People of Biafra, a separatist organization, would restore peace and security in the geopolitical zone. A communique issued by IPOB, the highest decision-making organ of the group, and signed by its president, Professor George Obiozo, believes that releasing Nnamdi Kanu and other Igbo youths detained for different alleged offenses is the first crucial step in restoring peace and security. Jide, we are thinking of a political victory here, for federal government. So the topic will continue to be here.
I don't see, all I want to see is for us to have peace in the Southeast. All I want to see is for the Monday sit at home to come to an end. Because IPOB has already dissociated itself from the sit at home. But cultists and other criminals continue to enforce it. And because people do not have faith in the capacity of the security agencies to protect them, if they were to brave the sit-at-home directive,
yeah,
they would rather stay in their homes. Because, look, it doesn't profit anybody for people to sit at home when they're supposed to be working and contributing to
more so the Igbo country.
Yes. These are people who are energetic, they are very enterprising and inventive when it comes to business. Many of our people can't open their containers. Mondays used to be the days when they open their containers in Onitsha. But now,
all that's gone.
That has gone. They've relocated such containers to places like Akwa Ibom and even
neighboring rivers.
Neighboring Delta. Delta has benefited so much from the carnage that is going on in the Southeast. At least I was in Anambra, I was in Imo, and I was in Delta State in the last 2 months. So I know what the people are going through. This sit at home is ruining businesses. Schools have now resorted to opening
on Saturday.
On Saturdays.
I hear.
Some banks have resorted to opening, flinging their doors open to customers on Saturdays to make up for that day that is lost on Mondays. And all this is happening because of insecurity, the very, very, very fluid security situation in those states. If I want to believe that since this whole thing began because as a response to Kanu's detention, if he is released from detention, as those Igbo leaders said, I'm sure that things will calm down in a very terrific manner in the Southeast. I believe that they are saying the truth when they say, look, release this guy and some of the others that you detained and we'll have peace.
Yeah.
Force does not always solve problems. Sometimes it does. I can tell you many times it doesn't. And there are experiences that we can use as illustration to illustrate this point that even people who are engaged in barefaced war, they had to come to a negotiation table, to look for peace. So I've given the example of even Colombia. After killing one another for about 60 years, government and the rebels,
the rebels,
FARC rebels, they had to sit down together
at the table
to look for peace. So those who think that a resort to dialogue is a demonstration of weakness. I just pity them. It is not weakness. It's the realization that peace is of prime importance. Peace is important, and whichever steps we can take to get to achieve peace, we've got to take it.
Yeah.
If, you know, my approach is a pragmatic one. If I'm convinced, for example, that our armed forces can get the job done, can secure the whole area, can ensure that people
So be
don't
it.
get killed cheaply, frankly, I won't say let's try to go for peace. But in a situation in which you can't secure the people, Ebubiagu was created by the governors of the Southeast. Ebubiagu is largely
Ineffective.
anonymous, at least when it comes to protecting the area. Even Ebubiagu will stay away on Mondays. They won't be seen. Policemen stay away from the streets on Mondays. So we just have to find a way.
Wale, but you realize that for Nnamdi Igbo,
Yeah.
as indeed for people in my part of the country, the South, homecoming at Christmas is key.
Yeah.
So you are looking at Christmas, the season, 21 days away, and the feeling that you cannot go home and enjoy your Christmas is something that makes the heart heavy.
I think as someone that lived in that area before, I know that they are predominantly Christians. And Christmas, I think, is the most important festival for them.
Yeah.
You know, apart from the traditional Ofala festival and all that, you know. So a lot of people will be looking towards December as the moment of reunion with their loved ones, a moment of joy and excitement. And if you have worked all throughout the year, and the next thing is for you to go and relax just for 1 or 2 weeks. So I think for now, I believe that what is going on in the Southwest will affect a lot of people who have wished to come to their ancestral home. But then, how do we address this problem? I'm not a fan of Nnamdi Kanu because of his caustic rhetorics. But that does not diminish the fact that it's not about me. It's not about whether I like his face or not. It's about what the law says. There has been federal high court judgment in Abuja that set him free. There's also the Court of Appeal. So that knock out most of the charges against him.
Yeah.
And in fact, the court said that his adoption violated extradition treaty. So I think it's not about the mood swing of the president or the wishes, personal wishes of the Minister of Justice. It's about the rule of law. So if the Court of Appeal at the High Court in Abuja have given significant judgments, I think the best thing is for the government to release him. Now, for the government to be holding him suggests that this appears to be a political trial. And that means there may be need for political solution. Because what they are fighting for, you know, what they claim to be fighting for, even though the manner of approach some may disagree with, self-determination, is recognized by several international conventions. Since 1945, the UN had made declaration on the right of people to self-determination.
Yeah.
United Nations Universal Declaration of Human Rights in 2007. And in fact, Nigeria ratified some of the conventions. For instance, the Convention of Biological Diversity, the ILO Convention 169 on the right of indigenous people to fair, to free informed consent of resources being, you know, harnessed from their ancestral homes. There are a lot of conventions, even the African Charter on human and people's rights.
Yeah.
So you cannot come out with your own word when there are various centers, and Nigeria and the whole world, they are looking up to Nigeria as a good example in Africa. So I think once there are court pronouncements, they should be released. And if you think that releasing will cause problems, negotiate with him. There is no doubt that Kanu is a phenomenon in the Southeast. People become heroes either out of fear or love, or both. But the fact of the matter is that people are staying back home even when their governors ask them to report to duty. So it means there is a kind of support for him. So I think what the government should do is to negotiate. It's never a thing of shame that we have negotiation with people. Negotiation is part of democratic process. Negotiate with him and let us have some level of peace in the South. Not to forget, that this country will have gone through war before, 30 months, and we don't want that to repeat itself.
Yeah.
And the only way we can avoid it is justice. And to recognize the fact that people have the right to express themselves, and then if you don't agree, negotiate with them.
Yeah, disagreement is necessary in debates, because if we disagree, the more, the chances are there that you see that somebody was right somewhere and somebody was wrong. So it pays government to go back to the question, should we release this guy for so and so reasons and so on?
Well, the government is a product of the law. And if somebody wins in court, as I've said on this program a number of times, you can't choose what court orders to obey.
Yeah.
You can't choose what court orders to obey. You've got to obey the law, the order of the court. Trying to buy time and going back to the same judge who ordered his release to get another to keep him and all that, I don't think it's right. It suggests that there is more to this case that we probably do not know. Kanu can be approached through some of the Igbo leaders that he respects. Remember, we lost one of them recently.
First Republic Aviation Minister. Yeah.
Yes, he told the president, he said, release him to me. I guarantee
I'll talk to him.
Yeah, that he will be of good behavior.
Yeah.
But the president sounded initially like he will comply, at least during that meeting, that he will give it a thought. But we started hearing the justice minister say all kinds of things, and I knew that the president had been prevailed upon not to grant that opportunity for Kanu's release. And the president came out to say that that the law should be allowed to take its course.
Yeah.
Now,
I remember he said so.
When the law took its course, instead of releasing him, you ran back to that court, the same court, for another to still keep him in detention. What would you do if the biggest court in the land, for example, were to
order his release?
Because we are not lawyers, but if you read that judgment, it showed clearly that either the government lawyers didn't know what they were doing, or they just did a shoddy job. Because the law is clear. The law is clear about how you can bring in a fugitive from a foreign land. The law is clear. And once you breach that law, you can't get judgment. In any case, there was also the matter of where did he commit the offense.
Okay.
Jurisdiction. Yes, that was he bought a transmitter, was using that transmitter to preach hate and all that. We are against all that, preaching hate, calling for violence and all that. Of course, we are against that. We've condemned him in the past. But Kanu's lawyers are arguing that offense, if you are saying that, okay, he bought a mast and was transmitting from a location in Anambra. Kanu's lawyers are saying by that, it has outstripped the Abuja court of jurisdiction. And the judge, even the judge was asking him, okay, you said he committed this offense where?
Yeah.
They were silent on where he committed the offense because they felt it to be injurious to their case.
Of course, in law, jurisdiction matters a lot.
Of course. He said jurisdiction is everything. So where did he commit the offense? We were wrong in bringing him the way we brought him in. We were wrong. It breached all known
Rules and
non-global convention and all that. But now he has won 2 cases in court now. There was a case he won in Umuahia, court in Umuahia. He's won another one in Abuja. So how many cases will he win against us before we do what is right? And in my view, what is right is consider the option of dialogue. Consider it.
Because you lose nothing.
Yes. After all, we have dialogue with bandits before.
Yeah. You
Outlaws,
lose nothing.
we dialogue with them. This is still someone that we can dialogue with. Even apartheid South Africa, at a point, he got tired and had to dialogue with Mandela and the rest of them. You know? And when the blacks were killing one another, Buthelezi and the ANC were killing one another, what did they do in South Africa?
They saw.
They brought them together.
Came to the table.
They did what you could describe as power sharing. Buthelezi became a deputy.
Buthelezi was
vice president. You know, and the killing stopped instantly.
You give something, lose something.
Yes,
you know,
the black on black violence stopped instantly once Buthelezi's camp was accommodated. This is the extent to which dialogue helps to stop bloodletting. And our leaders need to realize that it is not in all cases that you achieve peace by going to court. It is not in all cases that you stop a war by actually achieving victory on the battlefield. So,
in fact, a war general, Lao Tzu, if you remember, he said the best form of military victory is winning a war without firing a shot. You know, so the federal government, I'm sure they're watching us, achieve a political victory because you lose nothing. You lose nothing. Turn him loose. Turn him loose. Jide, a national currency is a legal tender issued by a country's central bank and therefore must be defended by the country's monetary authority. Information reaching us reveals that the CBN has injected $11.24 billion into the economy in order to stabilize the Naira between January and July 2022. The report shows that $7.6 billion was deployed to stabilize the Naira in the first 5 months of the year. This is just where as well. After all, what the Naira loses in speed, it gains in distance.
Yes. The central bank of any country is usually its first line of defense in maintaining and stabilizing a currency. In our own case, since the middle of this year, we've seen that the Naira has been going steadily down. And when I read some of what the CBN came up with, you see that even supply of forex began to taper down at some point towards the middle of the year. So you can easily explain why the value of our currency
will go down.
Yes, because when people increasingly ask for the dollar and we can't match demand,
the value will go up.
The value of the dollar will go up against our own currency. You can ease up demand by making the currency available, by making enough dollars available. But of course, other issues too come into play. Are we earning enough? The answer is we are not earning enough. So because we are not earning enough, the CBN has to defend the currency. Unfortunately for us, some of the boulders that we had around 2013, 2014, 2015, we do not have that level of boulders that we can use anymore to defend our currency and make it, stabilize it, make it stronger against other currencies. So we are seeing a depletion of the foreign reserves, or the CBN goes there, takes foreign exchange, intervenes in the foreign exchange market with funds from the foreign reserve, because it simply cannot leave the situation the way it was. So, but the CBN's strategy, though it's not something that they invented, it's not something that you can do for so long, because depleting the foreign reserves has all kinds of implications.
That's it. So
you can intervene for some time, but you've got to find a way to make your currency stronger. You've got to produce a lot more. We've got to export a lot more. In a situation in which our main foreign exchange earner, we are talking of
crude
production levels going down drastically to the point that we suddenly became number 3 in Africa, behind Angola and what on Libya. Where are we going to earn money? Citizen, the Saudis, through Aramco, in 1 quarter, during this senseless war that Putin has waged in Ukraine, made about $58 billion. Every country that is a big oil producer is making.
You mean the OPEC countries?
Yeah. Yes, those big. There are some of them that are not really big, but they are part of the OPEC. They are part of the cartel. The big ones, the ones that are our mates,
they're smiling to the bank.
So much. It's unprecedented money for them. But we are not making any money.
Yeah.
We are the ones who are not exploiting this situation. At least when we had the first Gulf War, we blamed Babangida that this oil boom, what did they do with the money? He squandered the money and all that. This time around, we have nothing to even squander. We are not making money from this war.
Oh boy.
And because we are not earning enough, if we were producing, there was a time we were producing 2.6 million barrels in this same country some years back. If we were producing that much, of course we will earn more foreign exchange. We will earn more dollars, and the volatility that we are experiencing in the foreign exchange market, we won't be facing it. We are not earning enough. We are not producing enough. Therefore, we are not earning enough. So others are rejoicing that, oh, Mr. Putin, yes, your war is senseless, but it benefits us. So in our own case, we can't say that we are benefiting from the war.
Well, let's go back to the Naira, you know. Another thing bedeviling the Naira will be the business of speculation. Speculators are not helping the matter.
Yeah. I think that's one major problem. The forex market is not regulated. If you have just $100 in US, and if you want to change the dollar maybe to pounds, they will collect your details. So they know which money is coming from who and to where.
That's it.
Your passport, your details.
So they track, it is tracked.
It's tracked. But here in Nigeria, if you have $10,000, just go to Ikeja or anywhere. You can change the money without anybody tracking you. And you know, the CBN said something that over 80% of funds they are not within the financial system.
Yeah.
That is a very serious issue.
It is.
It means people are not interested in putting their money in banks. I try to ask people, a few people, and they keep on giving the same or similar answers. What do I benefit if I put money in banks? Savings, interest on savings, is almost 1.something%. So why should I put my money to make only 1% in 1 year? Then if you want to buy treasury bills that used to be 20% some years back, you are now going to get maybe about 2%. So why should I put my money in the bank? So the only thing you benefit is that... So
the problem is self-inflicted.
They take COT from your account. So if I put 500,000 in the bank and it diminishes, why should I go and put my money in the bank? So even when you redesign the currency, by March next year, people will begin to bring back the money again, the new funds, and keep at home again. That's what is going to happen. So we keep on treating the effect.
But the CBN is
cost.
telling you one major reason for redesigning the Naira is to cure that wahala.
Yeah, but it's going to be counterproductive because you have asked people to go and put their money in banks. What the banks only do is to take safety from their funds. So in a way, all you just need to do is to open multiple accounts. So if they say you can only take 500,000 in a day, then you can take about 2 million naira in a day if you have about 4 accounts. That's what it means. So we are treating the effect, not the cause. And just like Babagide has said, we need to go back into manufacturing. At a time,
aggressive.
The Naira was almost at par with the dollar. Stronger than the Indian rupee. And in fact, the Ghanaian funds was just more or less like CDs, just like water.
Wale, do you know, if you told your little cousin that in the Second Republic, in the Shagari area days, a pump price, a liter of petrol sold for 15 kobo.
Sure.
He will stone you if you can't.
Naira at the time was almost stronger than dollar. You are going to UK, you even go with Naira because you can spend
Naira was
money.
exchangeable outside.
How much do you need to go to UK? 300 Naira.
That's it. Flight
ticket. You know, you eat in the university, free food, at lesser cost, not really totally free, 50 kobo.
50 kobo.
But at that time, we are talking about even when you are a student, you will come for holiday jobs. On long vac, or 3 months, you will go, come and work. There's job waiting for you, even when you are here to finish your school.
That's it.
You know, you work for 3 months, 2 months, and then you go back to school as a rich student. But now the factories at Kenya are gone. The factories in Kaduna, they are gone. In Port Harcourt, they are gone. In Ibadan, Leylands and all that, they are nowhere to be found.
Will they ever come back?
So what are we talking about?
Will the factories ever come back?
Kwara State, we have sugar factory in Bashita. You know, we have, this one in Jeba, the paper mill in Jeba. They were, they had a lot of people, Indians working there. All over the place, industrial sector. So what are you talking about? Today, the factories are gone. They are even relocated to Ghana.
Taken over by churches.
Churches. So what are we talking? The only thing that's supposed to give us money.
Kaduna is testament to what you're saying. You go to Kaduna, like a whole city was built based on textile production.
Yeah.
The Makera, the Kakuri area. They had these textile farms where someone like Roshomole even came from. Arewa Textile, KTL, UNTL. We had them providing jobs, for people to be able to take their family. All those.
When I hear that,
Dangote had one of the biggest textile farms in this country. He shut it down. One day, I met Dangote at this Protea.
Okay, hotel.
Yes, the one in Azerbaijan also.
Yeah.
Is it Azerbaijan or before Azerbaijan?
Azerbaijan.
So I now went to him. I said, why did you shut your
textile factory down?
He looked at me and laughed heartily. He said, I didn't know you hated me this much. I said, I couldn't process what the man was saying. He said the friends of the people in government are big-time smugglers. So how can my textile farm survive when people are allowed to bring in
imported prints?
Yes, smuggled
prints,
textile materials, including voiles and the rest of them. They bring them in convoys of trailers. He said, how can this survive? And you can't do anything about it because the biggest smugglers are friends of the people in government. That's exactly the way he said it. I think I met him in 2012. I'm talking about 2012.
Some 8-9 years ago.
Yes. So he shut it down. And so many of the textile farms are gone. They are gone.
You can
Something
say
that provided jobs for our people,
You can say we did this problem. We created this problem ourselves.
This whole problem began when IPOB came up with SAP. SAP meant we had to devalue our currency. Our currency was stronger than the dollar at the point. But we had to devalue. When we devalued, then it began to get worse from there. Successive governments didn't do much to stop the hemorrhaging of businesses outside of our country. Businesses were relocating from Nigeria to Ghana. We were not ashamed enough to tell ourselves that, no, this is wrong.
All right, to our next story. Wale, you know, both Rwanda and Senegal share the honor of being countries with very high levels of women representation in parliament. Rwanda with 61%, Senegal 47%, you know. With a paltry 4.1%, Nigeria, given her size, is abysmally low in the reckoning of the United Nations. The UN Women Representative to Nigeria and ECOWAS, Ms. Beatrice Ayong, was a guest at He for She, that is, men who support gender equality, and organized by the Center for Democratic Development, CDD. She said Nigeria was the least in terms of women representation in Africa. She added that it's very appalling and very unsatisfactory and unacceptable. Empowering women politically, if you ask me, is essential to the health and social development of families, communities, and countries. Or what do you say?
Absolutely. It has been proven, you know, through many researches all over the world that where women are empowered, there is a link between women empowerment, growth, sustainability, peace, and well-being of the society. The disempowerment of people, of women, is historical. It's not just in Nigeria alone. But so many countries have, you know, been able to cross that hurdle.
Yeah.
Not until 1906 were women able to vote in anywhere in the world. And that took place in Finland. And even in UK, as developed as it is, until 1928, women were not enjoying
suffragettes,
adult suffrage. So, but in Nigeria, in Africa, in the past 20 years, there have been tremendous changes. And it's just unfortunate that Nigeria is not part of this moving train. We are, you know, being overtaken by countries like Chad, South Sudan, Namibia, Senegal, South Africa. As we speak now, Rwanda, you know, has higher representation compared with Nigeria. You know, it has about 61%. You know, now, even South Sudan, you know, as one of the newest countries, is far better than us. I think this is quite unfortunate. In Nigeria, we are talking about between 4 to 6% of women representation. So it means that it's, you know, it mirrors the level of our democratic governance. Nigeria has about 104 million women and about 107 men. So it's almost about 50, you know, 50 to 50 ratio.
Yeah.
And even when you're talking about voting, more women do vote when it comes about election. We have about 68%, you know, participation of women participation, while men participation is about 65%. Unfortunately, women are used as entertainment objects during political rallies. You know, they go there to dance, they go there to sing. Nobody is talking about fundamental issues of women empowerment. And of course, women, we all came through women. The agony they go through for the 9 months makes them to be more emotional, makes them to be more compassionate, makes them to be more affectionate. And that is why you see that where women are in power, they are even less corrupt. Researches all over the world have proven that women are less corrupt. So it's a disadvantage to ourselves, you know, to have a country where, in Nigeria, for instance, where women are less empowered, women are looked down upon, women are treated as objects instead of as subjects. So I hope there's going to be a paradigm shift. This is a major crisis, and I hope something has to be done fundamentally. It's not just about, okay, women go and contest when the field is not even.
Yeah.
You know, there are so many things that put them at disadvantage. So we need to create a conducive environment where women can be seen as equal partners for the development and prosperity of our country.
Equal partners in progress.
Yeah.
Jide, but you know, the counter-argument is Nigeria, nay Africa, runs a patriarchal system, not the matriarchal. And some people talk about religion and culture. And are the men afraid of the women in our country?
I don't think this is because they are afraid of the women. I think they come to see the men as superior to the women. Many of us think that this is a man's world. That's why some things that men will easily get away with, women dare not even contemplate it.
Yeah.
You know, they dare not consummate the idea. But men will do it, and that we think that it's a man's world. There is
But
a lot.
it will be nothing without the women, even
I
if
wish
it's a
that
man's
our
world.
people, you see, I wish that our people begin to see it that way. When it comes to women participation in politics, the level at which it is in Nigeria is a disgrace. Honestly, we have not shown leadership at all. I mean, if some of the small countries around us, Senegal, let's not even talk about Rwanda, because Rwanda is a global leader when we are talking about women representation, especially in parliament, you know, not just appointed positions, elective positions, where we tend to want to give women a chance in our countries in appointed positions. But we can do much better than that. Women can do a lot more in helping us build a nation for everyone if we give them the chance to get more involved in politics. I remember in the days leading to the primaries, the wife of our president, Aisha Buhari, went to see the APC national chairman with a view to getting the party to support more women.
That's it.
You know, more women to
Contest elected
contest
positions.
in those primaries. No, just even starting with the primaries. Contest in those primaries and see how many of them can emerge at the end of the day. But if you are to check how many women eventually became candidates, your guess is as good as mine.
Remember even the senator, Senator Binani, who won the APC ticket in
Adama.
she went through a lot of hell.
Yes, it's just recently that she won at the level of appeal.
Yeah.
And we don't even know whether they will still take her all the way to Supreme Court. No one is sure. You know, you look at Northern Nigeria, for example. Northern Nigeria, houses of assembly, especially in the Northwest. How many women are in the houses of assembly? You can't have women as represented as they are in voting. They are easier to mobilize than the men. They are far easier to mobilize than the men. That's why you see them populate political gatherings. You see them come out on election days. They vote because they have the patience, they have the stamina to stand in the queue for so long and vote. You see them. They always...
They weather the storm.
Yes, they are ready to vote a lot. But how many positions are we prepared to concede to them? And this should begin at the level of the primaries, not in the election proper. If parties allow many women to even emerge, if you zone certain positions to women, then it means that you could see two women facing one another, maybe in the House of Assembly election, maybe in a senatorial contest and all that, which will make it a fait accompli that a woman will emerge as the candidate of the party. You get the point that I'm making?
Oh, yeah.
We have not simplified the process consciously to encourage more women to participate.
Shall we talk briefly about internal democracy at the party level?
Even when we are talking about internal democracy at the party level, we still have thugs bearing cutlasses, shunting people aside, even on the queues. I remember speaking with a woman leader who said, look, even when we try to contest, the men will still prevail because they will use their thugs to disrupt queues and all that. There's a woman was here in Lagos. So I'm saying that we can't have in the Northwest, for example, 7 states, and in the House of Reps, no woman. Senate, no woman. 7 states, 7 states.
Not just one, not one.
And even in the Southwest too.
Yeah.
The situation has not really changed. We are harassed. We are harassed citizens. The great Nnamdi Kanu had as his running mate a woman.
Oh, yeah. I remember.
A Yoruba woman.
Yes.
Back then.
I remember.
So are we saying that we are just simply regressing, we're just going back? We couldn't build on that? How many of the main the strong candidates, how many of them are women as their running mate, presidential running mate? Is it such a bad thing to say, okay, let's also have a woman?
Wale, have you heard the argument or the counter logic that a man would be wary of exposing the wife to what the men go through?
Yeah, that argument is always there. But I think it's an excuse that is not, it's a kind of a defense mechanism in order to justify why, because when we need these women to go and vote, to mobilize people, we send them.
Yeah.
Say, go and mobilize in rural areas.
Send them to the same environment.
To the same environment, And you see, every political party, they usually have woman leader. Have we ever heard of men leader? Because they know to mobilize women is very critical. And they will send their wives, their sisters, to go and mobilize women, to vote for them, send them to rural areas and all. So at the same time, if you can send them to go and mobilize, why can't you give them position of responsibilities? So, and it's not just in politics, in the civil service, in the academic community. How many VCs do we have that become, there are many VCs that are women, look at Uniben. I think at the time we had Alele Williams. Since then, how many women have we had that have become?
No, Wale, don't begrudge Unilag. The current VC is a woman.
Oh yeah, that's a very good development after so many years.
And then Modibo Adama.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
So we need women participating in every spheres of human life, not just in politics alone. So I don't think it's a very good excuse that you are born by a mother. Then when it comes to giving responsibility, to say, no, I don't want to send my wife or mother, that kind of thing. I think it's not a good excuse for us. It's not logical.
I remember the first...
And when you look at Obasanjo gave some women a chance, and they excelled.
Yeah, they put
appointive offices.
Appointive, yes, appointive. And
they excelled.
But do you remember the Ogun State Speaker of the House?
All of them.
Speaker of the House in Ogun State who got wahala from the men. I've forgotten her name now. In Ogun State, a woman.
The former minister too. In Ogun State, the former minister when Mosu was there.
And Anambra State had a female governor, Virginia Etiaba,
Yes. Just for 1 year.
Her reign was
was I think about 2006, 2007. Just 1 year. It was short.
So we are still. Is it in our body politic to shut them out?
No, I think we reserve the plum positions for ourselves, and the women need to work harder at uniting themselves, because a situation in which you see a woman on the ballot and even fellow women are reluctant to vote for her, I don't think it speaks well. I know that a lot of the women can compete with the men when it comes to the kind of money being shared at these primaries. The women can compete. That is a fact. So, but women need to back one another a lot more. What's the point in a woman not having?
They say it's difficult for women to back.
Who could have voted for her.
Yeah.
Remember Sarah Jibrin?
Was the only presidential candidate,
yes.
And she was reputed to have scored just one vote.
Her own vote. The women that populated the stadium simply refused to vote for her. That's the point I'm making, that, yes, the men are not making things easy for the women, but the women too must learn to vote for one another.
To help themselves.
Must learn to help themselves. Because if you can't do that, then why would you expect the men to support women? So in future, we would like to see more women in the federal legislature, more women in the state legislature, more women in appointive positions like ministers and all that. So I've seen some of the presidential candidates promising to give more positions
but
to
they do.
youth,
They do promise.
But how are we sure that when the time comes, overriding political interests won't cause them to not even honor their award? It's a terrible thing. Now, you remember the president's wife, accompanied by the wife of the vice president. They went before the National Assembly. They wanted extra slots.
For
There
women.
were 5 gender bills.
Yeah.
But the most dominant of them all was that the attempt to have extra legislative seats given to women outside of, for example, of the Senate, where you have just 3.
I think that was thrown out.
It was defeated, despite the president's wife's intervention. Some of the lawmakers said, oh, the intervention came too late and all that. But I still think that in future, that kind of bill should be represented, probably rejigged in a manner that will enable us to be able to elect more women, not just appoint.
Wale, let me humor you a little. Somebody said when Croatia crashed out of the World Cup, I wish Croatia qualified so we can see at least the beautiful president hug players again and so on. In other words, is it wrong to have Croatia elected a woman? I think Finland, the president is a woman. A woman just quit the stable in London and so on.
Yeah.
So which is saying that women have been able to hold their own, except in Nigeria.
Look at Germany now, very strong.
Even Liberia.
Germany,
Liberia here.
And Liberia,
West
yeah.
Africa. So there's no excuse for us. I hope that we see ourselves as a reference point, not just a regional power. And if we are a regional power, we should be able to set precedent, in all index of women development, including, the right of women to access to political power.
And I cannot forget what the late Baroness Margaret Thatcher said. She said, quote, if you want anything said, ask a man. If you want anything done, ask a woman.
Yeah.
And women in politics, when they come out, they come out tops.
Yeah. When they give them the opportunity, they've shown that they can do a good job.
Yeah.
I remember Adams Oshiomhole saying some years back that, look, women are ripe for the position of president in our country, and that he's convinced that if they get that chance, that they are going to do a much better job than the men. I'm convinced. The few of them that we had during the Obasanjo era, I think that they still remain the stars of that
Jide, who will
administration.
forget Akunyi, Professor Akunyi?
Yeah.
Bless her soul.
No one. You remember how Obasanjo scouted her? Obasanjo had stories about her.
Okay.
That she was sent abroad, spent money, and brought back leftover. She didn't spend all of the money. Some people will have put all kinds of lies together as per where they went. They do retirement to enable them be able to use all the money. Akunyi returned what was left to government coffers.
I cannot forget the dogged fight between the woman and the drug faker in Onitsha, if you remember.
Yes.
The bullet, you know, knocked her headgear away. She just managed to survive. And look at the woman at SEC who fought
Yeah, that's it.
rogues in the National Assembly. She exposed how they were stealing money and all that. And she said, look, I will not succumb to your blackmail. And for that reason, they did not appropriate money for SEC.
Have you forgotten Wale Adeosun, the minister?
Yeah,
Yes.
from Ogun State.
Helped to save billions of naira for the federal government, but she had to go.
Yeah.
Yes.
Even in our history, we've had people like Queen Amina. We've had people like Moremi who have, thousands, hundreds of years ago.
Fela's mother,
Yeah,
Tough
Funmilayo
women.
Rason Kuti. So,
Tough women.
very tough.
Margaret Ekpo.
Yeah, Margaret Ekpo. So what are we talking? There are historical references for us that should
Gambo
tell us
Sawaba.
that, our
Gambo Sawaba.
yes.
Yeah.
The other woman, the Gwari woman, the pot maker, Ladi Kwali.
Ladi Kwali, yeah.
These are
Yeah.
heroes. The heroine, known all over the world. So I don't think we have any excuse to
We
just
don't,
fight the exclusion.
because the few occasions that we gave them a chance, they showed that they were capable of doing an excellent job. There was this woman who was very famous. She was the one in charge of the stock market there. Nnamdi
Nnamdi Okereke.
We had some
Yeah,
excellent
yeah.
women during the Obasanjo years.
That's
They
it.
were tough. at
Oh,
their
yeah.
job, every time there's that viral video of the woman, the SEC woman. I still see that video in which she sat there in the National Assembly.
You remember the national and the SEC woman who had the running battle with a
Yes.
member of the House of
Yes,
Reps,
that's the one that
Ihembe.
I'm saying.
Okay.
Ihembe.
What's her name?
It's
Ihembe.
a woman that is a name that I've been struggling to remember.
Yeah.
You know?
She told the rep member, is it because I didn't do this?
Yes, because I refused to bribe you. He said, and you got a stock code and all that, for the job not done.
Arun Maute.
Yes.
Yeah, Arun Maute.
Even this woman, the one who just left as NAFDAC DG,
Okay, yeah.
she fought them when they asked her for money. Somebody who was raised, who worked for many years in the U.S., you wanted her to come and give you good money. She said, no, it's not going to happen.
Yeah,
So you can be
sorry,
sure.
the name is Aroma Ote.
Yes,
Oh,
yes.
yeah.
You got it now. You got it that first time. So we need to give more responsibilities to the women.
To women, because they can discharge those responsibilities.
Yes, they will deliver. And I'm happy the president's wife is leading the way in pushing for this. The time has come. We've tested the men so many times. Let's test the women a lot more. And I'm confident that they have the good conscience to do a much better job.
All right, so what shall we say? It's safe to wish the National Assembly plenty of luck because they need it at a time like this. Give the women not just a chance, give them a voice. They will deliver on the jobs you give them. After all, gentlemen, the current secretary, the head of the civil service of the country is a woman.
Yeah,
Yes.
a woman. Yeah.
And the deputy head of public service globally, Amina.
Okay.
She's a Nigerian woman.
A Nigerian woman. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
That's the deputy to the UN Secretary General.
That's it. Antonio Guterres, yeah. Okay. Yes, the times are bad and ominous, and in our case, they are largely avoidable. The federal government has stirred the hornet's nest, if you ask me, by claiming that governors were responsible for rising poverty and economic hardship in the country. The Nigerian Governors Forum, NGF, has debunked it as baseless. The forum of 36 state chief executives has attributed the high level of discomfort and adversity in the country to the federal government's failure to provide adequate security for lives and property. Our plea is stop the blame game, look in the mirror and not out the window.
You know, when I was watching that minister, when he was making that foul-mouthed rant.
The Clement Agba?
Yes, I was watching him, and I knew that the opprobrium that he will get for what he said,
daring to go the whole hog.
eventually hit the president. Because this is what he has done. He's just given these guys the chance to attack the president. You know? Because first and foremost, I think it makes no sense for a public officer to come and tell us that overhead bridges are needless, that airports are needless.
And concentrating on state capitals are not necessary.
Because today, I'm sure even the minister himself is part of the rest of us who now fly a lot more than travel by road.
Okay.
Okay. There is an airport in Taraba. We never thought that the Taraba airport would be useful. Today, people are flying to Taraba. When Sonte, the late governor, was building the airport, they called him names. Today, the airplane is always full, whether you are going to Abuja or coming home. Have also flown on the Jalingo-bound flights before. It's the same thing. Katsina, the airport was not used for a long time, but they are beginning to use the airport, even if it's not every day, maybe like 3 days a week. But the flights, if you don't book on time, you not get a seat on the aircraft. Why are people flying? It is because of insecurity. One guy was telling me that, look, don't go by road. Me, I've made up my mind, I won't go by road to anywhere in Nigeria. That the kind of money that they will ask me to pay if they catch me is better I give airlines a fraction
and
of
stay
that
alive.
money. And so places where Gombe too, they have an airport, people are using it. People are flying from Gombe. People, and it costs a lot of money. Ilorin to, I'm traveling to Ilorin with a matter of days. I paid 65,000 naira.
By air?
Yes.
Okay.
You can imagine a short distance. If you are flying from Ibadan to this place, to Lagos,
15 minutes.
you pay just under 20 minutes. You pay in the region of 34 to 40,000. Whereas, it's not far. It's just about 136 kilometers or so. So you can't just in one fell swoop say overhead bridges are meaningless, they are not useful, airports are not useful. Who told you? The governor of Rivers State, go to Port Harcourt now, go to Aba Road and see how the presence of overhead bridge has eased traffic flow in that area. In Kogi, the Ganaja Bridge that Yabelo constructed after many years of previous administration consummating the project and not bringing it to fruition. When you go to Ganaja now, Ganaja, that area, it used to be serious traffic gridlock there. Today, no gridlock. Even the traffic control men that are put there, they don't do anything, they just cross their legs. Because you don't need them.
Ease. The traffic
People are going in
eased.
different directions. They don't even need anybody to control traffic. It's the same thing that is happening in Otoro, Kano.
Okay.
There is the big intersection that the governor has constructed. Mr. President will soon come to
Commission.
yes. The governor calls it the fingers of the octopus. With those fingers, you know, you don't need a single traffic control officer in a place that people used to spend hours in. Because with the overhead bridge, this one heading in this direction, this one heading in that in another direction, and the other arteries that have been created, you don't need men to control traffic. So how can somebody come and say, oh, these bridges are needless, these airports are needless, when there are people who are using them? If I can tell you that if Ekiti had completed their airport, because the former governor already inaugurated it and left office, if they had concluded it, I'm telling you, from Ado Ekiti to my village is about 1.5 kilometers. I would have loved to fly to Ado Ekiti.
Oh, really?
Yes, fly to Ado Ekiti and then get a cab to drop me.
Okay.
1.5 hours, I'm home. So how can you tell me that that kind of airport is not useful?
All right, Wale, let's still chase the story some more.
Yeah.
You know, on Wednesday, the Minister of State for Budget and National Planning lampooned governors.
Yes.
On Thursday, Mr. President added a lot more insult on injury by saying to governors, you are pilfering or thieving monies that should go to local governments.
Yeah. Well, I think not everything that the Minister of State said, not everything that he said was untrue. He said 72% of Nigerians are poor. And I think he's now trying to rationalize why this situation is like this. Yeah. He's now trying to blame the state governors. I think if he was wise, he should have shown greater wisdom for this kind of issue. Because look at it. You are indicted, the state governors are from the same party. Some of them are from the same party as you, as the people that appointed you.
20 of them.
So that means you have indicted about 22 state governors that are from the same party. You have also indicted the processes of administration of the federal government, because he said the state governors get loans to build airports and bridges. There's no state governor that can get loan without the federal government.
Yeah.
Is there, the counterpart funding and all that. So how come you are in charge of national planning? How come that these loans were approved in the first place? Do the federal government also take loans? Is the federal government not building universities, building roads, building red roads even to Maradi in the Nigeria Republic? Are you saying those things are not relevant? So I think it's a self-indictment of the government and of the ruling class. And I think it's not a tactical statement. It should have been more, it was a tactless statement that coming from him. I don't think it was diplomatic enough. Because what you are telling us is that your government has failed.
Yes.
You see, because state governors in a federal situation have the right to decide to shoot priority for their people based on decisions of the state houses of assembly. It's not the federal government that will do that for them. He has just mentioned the state where they have airport. That is from Kogi State. That airport will not just be useful to Ekiti State, to Kogi, to Edo, to Kwara, and to some other surrounding states.
Yes.
And of course, agricultural products can move from Ekiti State to Lagos. You understand the point? Great leaders don't just build monuments for today. They build for the future. And why are people building cargo airports? Because the roads are bad. He said that rural areas, agricultural products are not getting to urban areas. Why are people no longer doing agriculture in rural areas?
Yeah.
Security. So it calls down to an indictment on the federal government itself. So I don't think the minister, maybe he should have made this statement in an in-house discussion. But to make this kind of open statement, it's very careless
It's like a
tactless.
declaration of
It's
war.
an indictment on, on the government itself.
So we're saying that politicians should be
no, they should be careful about what they say. You see,
what they say.
When you are given to mud raking, inadvertently you also touch yourself.
Yeah.
Now, look at the response of the Governors Forum. This dereliction of duty from the center is the main reason why people have been unable to engage in regular agrarian activity and commerce. Today, rural areas are insecure, markets are unsafe, travel security is improbable, and life for the common people generally is harsh and brutish. The opinion, therefore, of one minister, based on a survey of 56,000 households in a country of 200 million people, can never diminish the good work that 36 pro-poor-minded governors are doing for this country. So, it afforded them the opportunity to pick holes
in what he said,
even in the work that the federal government has done.
To do.
They have now pointed attention at insecurity in our country by saying, look, a lot of farmers can't even access their farms. If they can't access their farms, we don't know what's in poverty. That's the point that they are making, that your own duty that you've left undone has worsened poverty. Yeah. So he invited this being firing at from all corners, because it shouldn't have gone to the point of saying those things. You can look at Wike and be angry that Wike is delivering overhead bridges here and there. But these overhead bridges have a way of easing traffic, especially if you put it where it is needed. You can't say, for example, that the overhead bridge that Ambode started and Sanwo-Olu completed in Pesnema has not eased traffic tremendously in that place. You just need to even bring a video of what that place used to look like and see the tremendous change. Now, Sanwo-Olu is going to build another overhead bridge around Fagba in Iju.
Okay.
Because that's another problematic place. They identify problematic places and then decide on what to do. You don't just dismiss, say they are building bridges that are meaningless. Who told you? How many places have you gone to where there is an overhead bridge that was not needed? How many places? And society, the community keeps getting bigger. Where you design roads, maybe one way, design road that is not dual carriageway. Ultimately, with the community expanding, you will see that it is actually dual carriageway that you need. Why did we have to do the second Niger bridge? Because people were sleeping in traffic during the Yuletide season. Some will spend like 3 days in traffic. Today, we have a dual carriageway as the second Niger bridge. It replaced the single lane it will replace the single lane that we used to have.
Yeah.
Everywhere that you deliver infrastructure, the dividends are always there. Yes, there's some people who bring projects.
Think of today, tomorrow, today.
Yes, so even if it looks like today, like, oh, they do not need it, it's not going to remain like that. That's why we had refineries, we built refineries, but the refineries are today not, they can't even provide all of our needs, because the refineries were built at a time when Nigeria population was just about 60 million.
Yeah.
Today, we are over 200 million. So even at their installed capacity, they can't be enough, they can't provide all of our petroleum needs. So infrastructure is usually the game changer. It helps to boost the economy. It helps to boost buying and selling and all that in a community. You can't just simply dismiss it like that, that what are these governors doing? No. You are part of the government. If our people are poorer now, the shame, the blame has to be shared.
Yeah.
You can't pin it on governors alone and leave Mr. President alone. You can't do that. You do that, you are cutting your nose to spite your face. I don't know. Those who advise these people, you just, because they put a mic in your front and you can see pressmen, you just talk anyhow to people. And now look at, see, now they are washing their laundry in public.
In other words, Wale, politicians lack restraint. They don't know when to apply the brakes, you know, which is the hallmark of the man, knowing when to hold the brakes and so on.
Knowing
what you say, what you say, and when you say it.
Yeah, it's very important. And governance is not just about, you know, making statements. You need to weigh the implication of what you want to say, the impact. I'm sure there are unforeseen consequences. All these attacks that are, you know, so next time he needs to be very careful. Because words are like eggs. Like Yoruba people say, once it's broken, you can't, you know, bring it back in one hole.
Do you fix an egg?
You can't bring it back in one hole.
That's the thing. And I think the president will also need to talk to these ministers, because this sort of thing invites unnecessary pot shots at the big man himself. Because if 36 governors are called together and they are attacking the government in this manner, at least 20 of those governors are APC governors.
Attacking the federal government, avoidable.
By saying that, we are accusing the government of dereliction of duty or selective amnesia, you know, some very strong words. Is the federal government, led by Muhammadu Buhari, that they are attacking. And who caused it? A minister who just felt that he needed to generalize. We know that, yes, some projects are not necessary or not the priority. You know, some project may not be priority at a particular time. But you just can't dismiss a project like that. And we've seen, even in the US, a town where they have 2 big airports and the rest. As the society is growing, Lagos is going to have another airport soon.
In the
Lekki corridor. Yes, they would have another one. You know, and you can't say even that one is useless. You can't say that. It's going to be useful. A lot of flights will be taken off from there.
That's a project for tomorrow.
Yes. So those of them who want to avoid, you can imagine you are going to Lekki, you come down in Ikeja here at the airport. To get to Lekki, you could be spending 3 hours if you are not careful. If you arrive on the wrong day, you could be in traffic for 3 hours. But when the airport is ready, you don't need to pass through here. It drops you there, and you go into your house in the Lekki area. So, no, those of them who live in that area, you dare not go and tell them that the project is not necessary. Because, given, yes, those of them in, I think, parts of Ijebu land, they will find it useful.
Well, essentially, as a progressive people, a government will need to surround itself with men who share your vision, you know, so as to run away from things like this. Because the governors are waiting to be, when you, it's like messing with the hornet's nest. When you scatter the nest, and everything, the hornets will come out to stay.
I'm sure even when the president came out to speak, he was speaking based on the information given to him. You know, by the ministers and all that. So it cannot be everywhere. So sometimes they give me the information and without, you know, we just go ahead believing that the minister has done his work. But you can discover that in this case, the minister didn't do his research very well. You know, that could implicate the president in the season of election. It's very sensitive.
That's it. That's it.
I think that the survey that showed that 2 out of 3 Nigerians are actually poor, it was conducted with UNDP and other partners. It wasn't just the MBS that sat together, that sat down and came up with that survey. It conducted a survey with several partners, including the UNDP. It's not the sort of survey that you can rig. You can't say, it's a government agency, let it not come up with what is embarrassing.
Yeah.
You can't rig it because everyone has a copy. They did it together. So if they are saying, we are people, 133 million Nigerians are poor.
Multi-dimensionally poor.
Yes. Then, including security is a factor, even in that. Then, we have to come up with policies that will ease the pain of our people. What steps can we take, to make things better for our people? That's the essence of the survey. It's not for politicians and ministers to be exchanging posture, to be shifting blaming one another. No. Think of what you can do. Government came up with the conditional cash transfer. Of course, a lot of Nigerians are benefited. Every month, some billions get shared by the Humanitarian Affairs Ministry to our people. That was meant to address poverty. But whether giving handouts to people in itself sufficiently addresses the matter of poverty is a question for you and I to answer. Some people will disagree. But even the World Bank had always encouraged conditional cash transfer as a means of easing the pains of poverty within the population. So perhaps the incoming administration would want to continue the conditional cash transfer thing, while also introducing some of his own plans. Like, I know that Shiwaju, for example, has talked about access to credit as a means of helping our people to get by. We don't all have to be poor, to be rich, to be able to go to school, for example.
That's it.
Over there,
the system should be enough.
You can take a loan to even pay your school fees.
That's it.
And when you start working, you'll be able to pay back. You can take a loan even for parking fees, to pay your parking fees. When the time comes, you pay back. They've made life more meaningful for their people, including those who are not solvent enough, who do not have money. Government must consciously find ways.
When the NBS came up with that survey report, Wale, it set me thinking. Each time I'm able to eat, I eat at my table. I think of millions who cannot eat, who have not eaten. They talk about 001, 010, and some is 000.
Yeah.
It's crazy. A little something dies in you.
Yes, because you belong to humanity. Your humanism pushes you to think of other people. You think that you are comfortable, but how about other people?
How about the others?
Have they eaten? Do they know where their next meal will come from? That's why I said government must consciously address the matter of poverty in our land.
Yeah.
Our people are going through a lot. And the last few years, more and more Nigerians have slipped into the poverty net.
That's it.
More and more Nigerians of this rampant inflation and other conditions that are just ugly distempers for our people in their battle to survive. It's a lot more difficult to survive in Nigeria.
Wale, you remember Ross Perot, the American politician? Yeah. He said, if you see a snake, kill it. Don't set up a committee. There are things you can do in this country without a recourse to committees or something. What's true is true. What is not true is not true.
Food is the primary life giver. Just like you have said. If you eat in the morning, the next thing is that you go out. In your car, even your car is tinted, I still you see faintly children on the streets. Sometimes as early as 8 a.m., 7 a.m.
When they should be
5
at school.
years old, 4 years old.
Oh boy.
Sometimes when I go out very early, let's say around 5 a.m., I see women holding on to about 4-year-old, children. That child is still sleeping, but the woman will keep on dragging on because she has to move on.
Yes.
Do you see the child still sleeping on the highway but the woman has, because that's the only way she can survive.
Thanks to mothers.
So it's so painful that our children need to go through. So when such children grow up, they see the society as enemy right from their childhood. They don't talk about those that are beggars. From age 3, from age 2, they only feed on hope that it's not even there. So we need to be concerned because these things will threaten our life at the end of the day. And we're already seeing it, the signs everywhere in the country.
Jide, and in many families across the country, children are made to fend for the grown-ups. Crazy.
Yes, because they have the energy, they can hawk products in traffic. What the elderly people consider too old to do. These children have the energy to aggressively do. So parents will give them bread to sell, give them eggs to sell, boiled eggs. And you can see these children sometimes when they make a mistake, maybe they lost money. The child will cry and will almost wish that death should come.
Oh boy.
Because he knows what he's going home to face. He knows what he's going home to face. Not only will he plunge the rest of them into hunger, you can be sure that the spanking alone that the boy knows he will go through is enough to kill him instrumentally. So you will be crying and crying until maybe somebody steps in and gives him money to replace what is lost. So
all right, I hear we must begin to pack bag and baggage. Wale, are you moved in any way by the World Cup?
I'm moved.
You saw Ghana. They say lightning does not strike a place twice, but it struck Ghana twice.
Yes, but Ghana, I could say that the Ghanaians exerted revenge in a way, because Uruguay needed the third goal to qualify.
But Ghana,
despite winning,
but
Ghana made sure that Uruguay did not get that third goal.
But Ghana got a penalty.
Yes.
Which she lost.
Yes, just like it happened the last time. But I still believe that on the day, the Uruguayans were better. Even if they converted that penalty, they would still have lost. But Ghana pegged them back. Ghana made sure that they didn't get that crucial third goal, because that crucial third goal
would have upset so many things.
Allowed Uruguay to qualify.
That's it.
Yes, ahead of I think those Koreans.
Oh, so did I cry for the Germans?
Now you saw the shoe was on the wrong foot this time, and we saw Suarez weeping like a baby. His World Cup had come to an end, but he caused the Ghanaians to weep in 2010.
So it was payback.
Yes, payback time for him.
All right. So on that note, we want to thank you for being a part of it. That's it on the program this Sunday. But don't forget to join the hangout tomorrow from 5 in the evening. And of course, we are also on YouTube at youtube.com/TVC News Nigeria. I'm Citizen Jones, thanking you for your time. Bye-bye now.